Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Tanya Love Show and Happy New Year. It is 2016 now, so that's pretty awesome. Where we're living in Vancouver, Washington, we woke up to snow everywhere, so that was kind of a beautiful little miracle. And as I look out my window, it's all snow covered out there and winter wonderland, so kind of cool. On another note, I and my family have been just moving through this situation with lots of inner reflection. I've been kind of bedridden for the last week and just in a lot of space. I've embodied the space of stillness and really done a lot of processing that I'm going to actually talk about today. And woke up in the middle of the night, my daughter throwing up and had a fever and was crying, and night where I was up coughing all night so much that I actually pulled a muscle in my neck. And so one of those days of just like having these human experiences. And I was checking the forecast with my beloved, and there has been a lot of solar flares and things going on. And I posted a thing on Facebook today that just kind of talks about how when we're in this intense time of more increased light frequencies coming into the planet, aka solar flares, um, it can actually affect us in a very physical way. Some of us can have symptoms as feeling very sick, mental confusion, where we can actually feel that we really want to pull inward and what I call go into my cocoon. And it can actually disrupt our sleep and cause a lot of shifts in our vibrational frequencies. So, those of you that are going through this, do your best to stay centered in a place of presence and just allow and surrender to the energy and let it move through you, rather than going into a state of resistance where we go into fear. We start thinking, oh God, am I, dying? Am I sick? What's wrong with me? And we start going into that dialogue, which either way, if you go there, it'll still assist you with what you need to remember. But I'm just here to remind you all that we can choose to go higher and to not go into fear, but to choose to go into a deeper state of love, an even deeper space of surrender and stillness. And for me this week, it has been very interesting because having all this quiet time has been, I usually spend most of my time in a lot of quiet time in meditation, anyways, being, right before I see a healing client, I'm meditating. After a client leaves, I'm in meditation. I teach meditation. So I embody meditation a lot, anyways. But this week was very, very quiet and very much pulling inward my energy resources. And it was a really enlightening week for Tanya Love. And the reason I'm going to share and I say these things from my own personal journey of discovery and understanding what it is I need to see. And then I say it with the hopes that it will ignite that same passion and that same courage in each of you to go inward and not to be afraid to see and not to be afraid to release and let go in ways that maybe we've never been comfortable to let go before. But this week has been very eye-opening for me and some levels, being an empathic, sensitive soul that I am, and very much being a nurturer. I have always had this innate ability to tune into the needs of others and to read their energy and to be able to help them and help them connect the dots and help them to heal. And that's just something that's just natural in me. However, I've also discovered that there's times where being in that state of empathic sensitivity, I can pick up on others' frequencies, and sometimes they can be disruptive to myself. And we've talked about this a lot on the show. And in that case, it cannot be the best for Tanya Love. And so, as empaths, how do we get into this place where last week we were talking about empathic balance? Like, how do we get to that place where we all can really walk in that middle way and we are in a state of balance in a way that looks out for the needs of ourselves as well as others? And when I was in this week of quiet, I really had a lot of time to reflect and observe how many of the humans that I was there for and that I'm always there for, and I'm helping them and I'm giving them advice, I'm, helping them out of predicaments, and I'm doing all this stuff to help. And how when I was in a space of needing, some love and nurturing, there was very few who were even tuning into that. And it can be very eye-opening. And if we don't go into victimization with it, we don't feel like poor me with it, we can really just see clearly that there are souls that come around only when they're here to get something from us. And there are souls that actually really also care about us and our well being. And what was so enlightening for me was to really see that with truth and not to be judgmental, not to go into, like I said, any kind of victimization with it, or poor me energy with it, but just to see, to have the courage to see. And in seeing, we can have this amazing opportunity for liberation and freedom from any old patterns. And so for me, when I'm looking inward and I'm like, okay, what is this? What is this energy? I really want to process it so I can live more truthful and authentically to me and live more in alignment of my highest self. And this week of being on my back, laying in meditation, in stillness, not feeling my best, really took me out of a place of doing where I was not able to do for others. I was not able to give to others in a doing sort of way. And it helped me to really shake off any sense of my worth and my value was connected to doing for others. And that can be pretty eye opening for a healer because, our highest joy, I love and am so fulfilled by helping others come into their alignment and feel good about themselves and heal. But when it's coming from a place of equal giving and giving and sharing, like we're giving and receiving, it feels like what I call a win-win. And win-win situations feel good and harmonious on both sides. When it comes from a place where one is giving and giving and giving, the other's taking, 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 it will not empower either soul. And so the one giving too much will continue to feel like their giving is just falling on, in an energy where it's not really being beneficial, let's say, and where it's also not benefiting them. And then the one taking will also start to feel the disruption and the imbalance, and they'll start to kind of create their own situations based on overtaking. And so what I processed was that in this new year, we all, we talk about resolutions and things we're going to do. There's like, I want to lose weight. I'm going to join the gym. I'm going to give up alcohol. I'm going to give up cigarettes. I'm going to, whatever. We have all these different resolutions that we give to ourselves each year, and they can all be great and they can be amazing if we really align and follow through with them. And they can be very enslaving if they're just new things that we talk about and that we really don't, follow through on. And that can start to actually cause us to feel even worse about ourselves. And so, when I processed in this last week, what is it that I wish to have as a resolution? And it's not just like a New Year's resolution, but for me, every moment, every day is a new earth day, a new earth moment of reality, of living in such a way that we are free of enslavement and that we live with liberation and truth. And for me, as I processed it, it was, I am, and as much as you guys see me speaking my truth on this show, I do a great job with it. But there are times we all go through where we're biting our tongue with that loved one and we're just, ooh, I'm not going to say anything to that, roommate or that sister or that husband or that boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever the situation may be, our boss. And we hold back our truth because we're at some level, we're afraid to completely be authentic. Because I feel when I process it in myself, when I'm nervous to speak my absolute truth to someone that's, let's say, very much being rude and hateful and judgmental, and instead of me boldly saying something about it, I just bite my tongue and I hold back. At one level, we could say it's because we're compassionate, we're patient, and I've told myself this at times. And at another level, when I get to be really honest with myself, it's because at some level I am afraid to speak that truth. And at some level, the fear comes down to, I feel, a feeling of being rejected and not being accepted. And so if we each, like if I can, my intention always on this show is to mirror to all of you that I am also moving through human moments in my evolution, my ascension process. And every moment I'm getting more and more, truthful, more and more authentic. And that is my intention. And then it's also to reflect that and mirror that back to all of you watching that this takes great courage and it takes a lot of awareness, a lot of paying attention. Because if we start to just get complacent and we start to just slip to the side with the feelings that we have and we hold and harbor anger and we hold in our feelings, we don't express them, it starts to really build up. And I feel like part of my like coughing, I was really tuning into that, just like I would tell a client to, like, what is this energy? And I'm coughing so violently and I can't hardly catch my breath and it's hurting my throat. And when I was going through that and I'm meditating about it, I realized there's a lot of stuff that hurts my heart that I hold back from humans because I am compassionate, I am patient, but there's this process of like how patient and compassionate does one need to be with truth, and when is it the time to actually express the truth to help in the highest way? And this morning, it was interesting. I had these very prophetic and like vivid dreams last night with my roommates, and I was like giving them advice, and we were having these soul conversations in our dreams. And then my beloved was telling me about his a dream he had, and as he's talking about the dream, I just start connecting the dots on it, and I was like, I feel like what your dream is saying is that you are at some level afraid of success. You're afraid to take flight. You're afraid to soar. You're afraid to become everything you were meant to be. Like that's what I'm getting from it. And then I just kind of let it go, and I moved on, and we went and took a shower. And later he came down and he was talking to me, and he was, he's, well, let me backtrack. So I spoke that truth to him about the dreams and then analyzing, observing his dream, intuitively feeling it. I don't really analyze it. It's more of like a feeling of intuition. And then I go on to Facebook and I express my truth in a situation that happened today where many of you know I had planned, my beloved and I planned to offer a twin flame workshop today. And like I said, went to sleep barking, coughing, not very deep sleep, exhausted, wake up in the middle of the night with a daughter throwing up and has a fever and is crying. And I'm just like, what is this? Like, it was not an amazing experience, but this is what we're dealing with. Okay, Spirit, help us move through this situation. Help us move through this with the greatest love, honor, and reverence. So my daughter comes and lays in the bedroom with us, and I'm like, baby, just relax. We'll clean the floor later. Like, we're just going to go to bed. Let's go back to sleep. And immediately I get on my phone and I go and I decide in that moment, this is not a time to have people coming to our home to do a workshop because obviously our family is not completely in health and wellness yet. And we're working on that and we will get there. But at this moment in time, we're still not there. And so I went and I put a post to the people that said they wanted to come and just explain from the heart that this wasn't going to be the best time and that I apologized, but I was going to have to reschedule because the family, was sick and we would have to find a new date. Well, some of the clients were very loving and compassionate. Were like, you know what, Tawnya, it's all good. And I hope your family feels better. I'm sending love to you and your daughter. And I look forward to doing the workshop at the right time. Like they understand, these souls have processed and understand that there is indeed a divine time for everything. And that they honor the now when the now shows them that this is not going to happen, even though we had an idea and a plan and we had this intention to do something, the doing that thing is not going to happen today. And so those souls, I love you so much because you're really embodying your divinity. You're really moving in this new earth reality that I am here to co-create and experience with others, which is one of win-win situations, one of honor and reverence, where we honor the now, we honor each other. We don't try to project any kind of anger at a healer if she can't give to us because she's needing to heal herself. We honor that and we see that she is actually in alignment in loving herself and showing us that. But the old paradigm was not like that. The old paradigm was like, I paid my money, I rearranged my schedule for this workshop, and you owe me. And if you can't do it, then I'm going to have to go somewhere else. And there's no reverence, there's no honor, there's no kindness or compassion shared. And I say this because some of the clients wrote back with very much, the understanding of honor, of the flow, and kindness and compassion. And then at the other hand, some wrote to me that were very much in a me, egoic energy, which was all about their needs, what they should have gotten, and how I shouldn't be rescheduling, and they've never worked with me, and that now they don't know if they trust me, and all this bullshit that was being projected upon me. And all I was doing in my truth was saying, this is not the best time. I want to do this workshop as much as all of you want to take it, but it's got to happen at the, divine aligned time. And I spoke my truth to the people that were expressing in a not so loving way, let's say. And I just said, I am here to honor and serve others, But I also know that it is my highest intention to work with souls who actually honor myself. They honor and care about my well being, my needs, as well as my family's. And these are souls that we're going to co create magic together because love is what is guiding every bit of the action and every bit of the movement. And any souls that feel like they are entitled to something of mine or I owe them something and they're projecting that upon me and they show no compassion or no reverence, I will be happy to refund your freaking money because that is not what I am here to go through in this life. And it was really powerful because if any of you listening run a business or you work in kind of business matters, we're kind of taught this, that the customer is always right and that you're supposed to do whatever it takes to make them happy. Fuck that shit. I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it because that is teaching humans to be monsters. It is teaching misaligned, egoic humans that are fearful and frantic and that are controlling to actually think that if they do those behaviors that we're going to cater to them, and then we enable that behavior. In essence, it's like that child that's in the line at the store and they're throwing a tantrum and they want a candy bar, and it's that mom that's like, oh, here honey, have the candy bar, okay, like she's doing whatever she needs to do to get that kid just to not have a tantrum. Monster in the future. That child is going to be a freaking monster. And it takes strong will and conscious patience and awareness to tell the child, no, you will not get the candy if you respond in this way. And if you calm down, at some point you may be able to have a candy bar. But today you will not be getting the candy bar because the way you're responding to me is not from love and honor. And you are throwing a tantrum and throwing a scene, and I'm not going to reward that behavior. I say this because this is like, we can all get that. Any of us that are parents know that we'll create monsters to do that with children. But look at how we do this as a society. How, if we run a business, we feel like we've got to bow down to the ones who throw the biggest fit over what things should be like. And my soul knows it's here to create a new way. And so, what do we have to do to create a new way? We have to have courage and fearlessness to face those who actually want to continue with the old way that isn't serving them or us. And we have to be willing to take a chance and a stand for what matters. And this is the kind of truthful living I'm talking about. It's courageous because in this moment with this client, there's a potential my speaking my truth and telling her that if you're going to show honor and love, like we can work together. But if there's no love or reverence here, feel free to move along and I will refund your money gladly. There's a chance that person's not going to like me, that they're going to totally take that and twist it around and make it a victim story for themselves. And then they're going to go and lash out and publicly talk about how Tawnya Love rejected them and told them, put them in their place. And this is a chance that I have, that I take every day when I live my truth, because not always do people love when you tell them the truth. In fact, most of the time I observe that when you're challenging someone who's been in shadow with something, let's say they've been that toddler throwing a tantrum their whole damn life, and no one's dared to stand up to them because in society, everyone's told we're supposed to cater to that and we're supposed to just calm them down so that they'll be satisfied customers. Screw that. That is not going to help this planet. It's not going to help that person find their balance. And it's going to make the people that are living that way pissed off. And at least for me, when I'm honest, when I feel like I have to cater to people's misalignment, it pisses me off. And if I don't express that truth, it's going to feel stuck in me. And I feel like that's a lot of what this last week has been for me, is like helping me process and clear and move the congestion out of my heart space of how much I swallow back and I bite my tongue and I hold my truth in out of compassion and patience is what I tell myself. But sometimes, is it that, or is it just that a little bit of me is afraid if I spoke my truth, I'd not be invited back. I would be rejected once again. And if we can really at least see that, it helps us to break free of the enslavement, helps us to break free of the shackles of that, so that nobody else owns our expression. Nobody controls us. Like, as a healer, I love helping people. And yesterday I did teach a workshop that I could handle for a couple hours. And then at the end of that, I was exhausted because that was how much I could give that day. And I knew it. And I did this vision board workshop that was very peaceful. We were talking so much about the importance of presence and of honor and living authentically. And what was beautiful is the group of people that gathered in my home, they were so respectful and so honoring. And these women, some of them had just had like an auric clearing with me. Most of them have had auric clearings with me, and one new woman had not yet, but she's coming to see me Tuesday, which I'm excited about. And some of them have mentored with me, done yoga teacher trainings. But what was cool is that sitting in this group, I, in my heart, wanted to help inspire love and passion in them and help them ignite their dreams in this new year. And this was our intention with the vision board workshop. And in their hearts, they expressed back to me honor and reverence for all that I had done to help them. And it was this beautiful time at that table of sacred heart expression back and forth. And that is what I'm here to enjoy more of in 2016. Not having people who want to come in and bark orders at me that don't even know me, telling me what I'm supposed to be doing, this old paradigm, and then at the same time projecting that they're very spiritually aligned and that they have been training and mentoring with so many people. And you know what? I don't give a shit. Like people that want to tell me how many mentors they've worked with, they want to tell me how many books they've read, they want to tell me all the classes they've taken on spirituality. And then at the same time, they show no honor, no reverence, no respect, and they do not step in a moment of presence. That tells me everything. And so, what I hope to mirror to all of you watching today is what if this year we all really could boldly and confidently move forward with fearlessness, with courage, with confidence in ourselves, in our own highest self? And what if we had the courage to speak our truth, even when it means that we may not get that contract, even if it means that those people, that we work for might fire us, they might lay us off. That's the kind of truth telling that we need to embody to change this planet around, to shift things around. If we got a bunch of people walking around that are talkers and they're not following through, it's going to create chaos and it's going to stall forward expansion and forward evolution. If we have a bunch of people that walk around biting their tongue and they never speak their truth, it's creating this suppressed feeling, this congestion that never lets the energy move. And for me, what I realize health is, in essence, is allowing energy to move and flow through freely. So if we're not allowing that freedom and that movement, we actually create stagnation, we create congestion, and it turns into disease. And for me, it was a week's lesson. And sometimes Spirit has a beautiful way of giving me a human experience again, because I have not been sick in years. But when I was in that experience, it taught me so much compassion for one, having greater compassion to humans that are healing, that are sick, because you really can't think very straight and you don't feel very good. And so it takes a lot of strength and a lot of focus to stay in that alignment of focusing on the positive and focusing on wholeness and alignment when you're not feeling well. So it was really beautiful eye opener in helping me remember what a challenge that can be. It was also great time for stillness. I was writing my book like a mad woman. I've written pages and pages and pages of a book that I am writing now, and it's just coming out of me. And it was beautiful because it brought me this inner reflective time to also see how much of my day and time do I just give away to others. There's a person that's kind of going through a struggle and they're asking me my opinion and advice, and I sit there and talk to them for hours in the kitchen or on the phone, and then next thing I know, the day is gone and I did not focus on anything that really mattered to me. Now, it's important, I feel, to balance this because I love to be there for others. But part of what I'm learning to balance in my own life for this next year is that I make sure I claim time for things that matter to me. If I can write a book that's very empowering and full of wisdom and it can get out to many, that could help many lives. That's important. And if I never give time for that to happen because I'm always like trying to give advice to all these people that just want to take from me and they don't really care what that does to me at the end of the day, that's part of my own lesson of self-love. And that's what I'm mirroring to all of you is in your own life, if we look in, are we doing this to ourselves? Are we putting our own passions last? Are we putting everybody else's needs first? As mothers, as fathers, do we go and cater to all the needs of everyone around us, but we don't really honor the needs in ourselves? Like, it sounds silly, but I talk a lot about the inner child. And just yesterday, I told my beloved, I was like, I really just feel like I want to color. Like, I just need to go color. Like that's something very therapeutic to me. And we go to get a calendar last night. When we were running around, we went to get some dinner, my Thai soup that helps heal me and decongest me. And we went by the bookstore and they had this calendar that's like a coloring calendar and you can color it yourself. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was just talking about I wanted to color, and here's this amazing calendar, and it's like 60% off. Awesome. So I bought the calendar. But I see that to all of you as, just to mirror the importance of honoring our inner child, honoring that time for stillness. And today's show, I feel in essence, is the importance of speaking our truth. And for me, maybe this client, I spoke my truth to her and she won't ever talk to me again and she wants her money back. Awesome. At the end of the day, I spoke my truth. I stood up for what I really feel is right in my soul, and I feel good about that. I feel great. So if we can practice that, more of us speaking our truth of what makes us feel great because it shows love to ourselves, it doesn't matter if you don't get that money or that contract or that friend or that like on Facebook. Get past all that, because I feel like that's what's enslaving a lot of us, is that too many of us are afraid of, will they accept me? Will they like me? Will they, come back to my workshop if I don't tell them what they want to hear? I feel like our true highest aligned mission and responsibility, if we're really here as light workers, is to embody truth and to speak that truth. And we can speak that truth with love and compassion. We don't need to be mean and hateful. That's never going to be a good idea. But speaking that truth, if someone's out of alignment, like if I'm, at my in-laws and they're totally projecting BS and not showing honor, and I'm just biting my tongue uncomfortably and I keep having to go there thinking I have to keep going there, how is that serving my happiness and my feeling empowered? It's not. And in essence, it's also catering to that behavior that's going to keep that enslavement going. So, big picture, maybe I speak my truth and maybe they never want to talk to me again, but the way we'll know is by speaking our truth. And when I have the courage to speak my truth, I find that those who really are meant to be on my path with me, they have deeper respect for me. Um, One example I'll give real quick and then I'll pause, because I have been talking for half an hour, which was interesting because I wasn't even sure I knew what I was going to talk about. Isn't that amazing? Um, but one of the things this morning is, after I spoke my truth with William and I was telling him about my dreams and everything, and I spoke my truth on Facebook and he read, saw what I wrote, he came down and he was processing his dream and just gave me a big hug. He had tears in his eyes and he's like, baby, I was processing my dream, and like, I realized I really do need to get out of my own way, and why have I been procrastinating? And it was like this amazing revelation that he had about his own life and how he had not been completely embodying his divine masculine, and that he's ready to. Like, what is he afraid of? And it was beautiful because we, loving each other, can help each other move forward. If he sees I'm stuck, he could be like, what are you afraid of? Why are you stuck? Like, let me help you move forward. And that is what I feel the true twin flame relationship is about, is helping each other rise and continue to rise in expansion, so that we ignite each other. And that's what we're here to do for each other in our sacred, union of a relationship that's very intimate. And then to mirror that outward to everyone we connect with, how to live more truthfully as individuals and as partners. If we're not truthful as ourselves as an individual, how can we really be a truthful partner? And if we want to be in truthful partnerships, if we're not being truthful in our partnerships, how can we be truthful in our parenting or truthful in our connection in the community? And for what my soul knows in every cell of my being is that truth matters. Like, living with integrity, living with truth, even if after today, some of you are like, what a bitch. Like, she actually said that to her client. I'm never listening to Tawnya Love again. Okay, awesome. Because I really am not going to focus on that anymore. For me, it's not about how many people like what I have to say, because often when we're messengers of truth, people don't like what we have to say. Have you guys noticed that? When you're the messenger of truth, maybe somebody's struggling, they know they have an addiction, they need to clear it. They come and ask your opinion, you shine the light on the situation, and then they're like, oh, how dare you say that to me? And you're like, well, wait a minute, I'm just the messenger. You asked what I observed. And we've got to stop lashing out at the messengers, I feel, if we want to evolve and we want to have a beautiful new earth reality, because the messengers come to help with the shift. And if we're trying to make them all feel uncomfortable and intimidate them into silence, how is that serving humanity? How is that serving the whole? And so I'm going to pause for a second because that was a nice little expression for 31 minutes. Is there anybody commenting, Amnon? And I'm going to go look on the page as well.
Nope.
Okay. So if you guys have not logged in yet and you want to, feel free to log in on the chat. And if you want to write in any questions, and if you relate to something I'm going through and you're like, wow, like I've really bit my tongue many times, and that's awesome, Tawnya, like you're mirroring that to me, or well, what about this, Tawnya? I disagree with you. Like, bring it. Like, tell me what you're feeling. Remember, the number is 919-518-9773 if anybody wants to call in today. And how about you, Amnon? From what I'm saying, I'll talk to you because sometimes that's just the way it works. What do you feel about the importance of actually speaking your truth? Like, do you ever feel that you with family kind of bite your tongue on things, or with clients, like I don't want to hurt their feelings, or maybe you just boldly state it all the time what you feel? What do you feel about that?
I always state it the way that I feel, but there
Good.
are ways to say it that are actually in a way. I mean, you don't hurt their feelings, but you want them to understand how things are. Because if not,
Yes.
they're gonna mess up. They're gonna screw up. So you tell
Yes.
them, but you do it in a way that they understand.
Yes.
That it doesn't hurt. Not, hey, stop doing this.
Yeah.
There's a way to say, hey,
Exactly.
you shouldn't do that because da 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 da.
Yes. Yeah, and I feel like that's true. Like like the most powerful way we deliver the most powerful way a messenger will reach those who need the message is how it's delivered. And it is true, if we're very hateful and judgmental in how we're expressing, that's not going to really be very well received on the other side. But even I've noticed that even if we're really compassionate and loving with our messages of truth, at times people get uncomfortable with that, and it's okay. Let them go and feel that discomfort, because what it is you're kind of like poking at something that they don't want to see. And if you can help them to like just realize there's something there that's creating discomfort, it can help them to tune into it, to shift it, and to clear it.
Mm-hmm.
But if none of us have the courage to actually say anything, then they're just going to run around as like I think like a toddler having a tantrum is really a child mirroring to us. They're out of control, they've lost their alignment, and they're kind of calling out for help to find the boundary again. And if we just keep giving them whatever they're throwing a tantrum for, I feel like, I mean, I've observed this with little toddlers all the way up to grown adults who have been treated this way. It really creates monsters, and they're miserable. They're not comfortable. And they usually create a lot of tension and chaos in their family lives as well. So just something to contemplate.
Yep.
Anybody else writing in before I read a card to everyone?
No, you go right ahead.
Okay. All right, so today I drew a card from my Liquid Crystal Oracle, which is perfect for today's show, which is all about speaking our truth, living our truth. And it's Lapis Lazuli, and it's the card of realization. And this is what I have, a lapis that's in the shape of a heart, which I think is so perfect because lapis is all about expressing our truth, throat chakra, and inner vision crystal. But I love that it's in the shape of a heart because as I was meditating with it today, I just was really contemplating how the symbol of the heart, like it's all about our heart. It's all about being true and living our heart's truth and expressing from the heart. And when we're expressing, let's like when I get back into like the egoic identification, like if we're in me, and it's just like fearful, frantic, egoic mind, we're in our mind, we will project and we will lash out at people with very little reverence for what they're going through because we're in that kind of fearful, frantic, egoic identification mind. And that's what we do there. It's this really insane place. And many of us as humans visited there, and maybe some of you are still vacating there. But we also have the opportunity to leave the mind space of ego identification and go into the heart. And that is a choice. And I feel like every moment when we're truthful, we know we have choice. But many of us, when we're playing victims, egoic energy loves to play victim and aggressor. It loves to go from, oh, poor me, everyone's against me, to, oh, I'm gonna lash out at all of you, and I'm gonna punish you, and then, oh, poor me. And it loves to play back and forth between the bipolarness of that creation. But when we can pull out of that and go into the heart, and we come from the heart and we start to express our truth from the heart, it's going to come from a higher place of truth. There's going to be more truth telling when we're coming from the heart. When we're just coming from egoic energy, it's just more like judgment and lashing out and reaction. So someone does something, you react. When we're in the heart, we respond from the heart and we go into more of our inner reflection, and we reflect upon, okay, what was it they're trying to say to me? What is their meaning? What is the lesson here? What is the gift? What is, bring me clarity and understanding? And we go into the heart to understand. And then now, Spirit, speak through me in such a way that I express from my heart to instill more understanding in others. And so, like today, if I was just like an egoic, fearful, frantic energy, I would be on here and I'd be blaming and I'd be telling everybody's names and like, oh, and this and she's a that and he's a this. And I would be in a very judgmental place of what's right, what's wrong. But when I'm in a place of heart, I will still have gone through the experience, but I'm coming from a place of how may I express my experience to all of you in such a way that ignites greater awareness for the whole? How can I move through this experience knowing that it's not just about myself, but this is an experience that reflects the vast consciousness of all of us? So if I'm going through this and I'm struggling in any way to stand in my truth, and I'm having fear, or or being inspired to have fearlessness and to live with courage, then at some level I could ignite that in others if I come from the heart. So I just happen to love that it's in the shape of the heart. So long story short, it's all about coming from the heart. So in Lapis, this card represents realization. The Master Crystal Deva, Laswardel. I am with you, always by your side. I have come to infuse the desire for truth. Let us open you to your past so you may hear the whispers of fear and pain at the seed of their creation within you. And I love that part because as basically a shamanic healer that helps people with soul retrieval and past life regression and all this stuff that I magically assist with, it's really going in and opening us to our past. Because in order to really become the embodiment of our divinity, to become everything we were created to be, we have to sometimes open up to our past to see, where did those seeds, those whispers of fear and pain come from? Because those whispers of fear and pain were whispered to us. They weren't us. They were something that mom whispered into our ear and dad whispered into our ear, and that teacher and that preacher and that, grandmother and that friend, the peer. And so if we don't have the courage to delve and look back into our past, we can feel very lost and very afraid of, how do we feel empowered now? And in order for us to move into our divinity, this is the clearing work we all have to go through. And like, I'm doing it myself. I'm working with my angels and guides. And then as a healer, I'm assisting souls with that same healing work when they're ready. But every one of us are going through this together. Do you guys get that? Like, none of us are alone. We're all going through this together. And any of us that think, oh, I don't need to do any of that healing work, like, oh, it's all like woo woo crap. And we're putting up guards and we're putting up blocks because we don't want to actually honor and acknowledge it. And we're afraid to tune into our past. And so we're kind of abrasive and we're aggressive and we're angry and we're fearful. It's all the whisperings of our past. And the only way we're going to be able to clear it is to have the courage to be vulnerable and to delve in and peek into our past to see, where did it come from? And so as we move in and we can go, okay, what is this pain in me? Where is it coming from? This takes great courage. But what's beautiful is, as we can tune into it, we can see where it came from. We can honor the illusion that it is, and that's not even got to be real for us anymore. But man, it certainly did have a real, like a realistic feeling in its creations of pain in us, but we're ready to clear it. And then as we release that, we return to our divinity. And each of us, like, I am a goddess, I am a creatress. And I was telling this to the girls yesterday. We're around the table creating vision boards, and every one of them, some of them were kind of like, I don't know if I'm an artist, Tawnya. And I'm like, and then the one girl, she's like, do you really think that we're all artists? And I was like, absolutely. We are all creators. We are all creators and creatresses in our own right. And what brings us the most joy is the act of creation. So when I am in my alignment, inspired and taking action towards creating something from my heart, I am going to feel fulfilled. And there may be work involved. I might be creating websites. I might be, putting out flyers. I might be taking action steps, but it will come from this place of inspiration and inspired living. And it will feel very fulfilling because it's coming from my heart and I'm actually honoring my heart's truth. And every one of us are a creator. When we truly master this journey, we realize we become the ascended masters. We move into this mastery level of being, and we realize we are one with Source. We are the gods and goddesses. We are the creator, the creatress. When we were in our smaller playing area of like what I call the learning empath, and we're in the learning phases and we feel small and insignificant and we're afraid and we think everyone else has the power. It's like the Wizard of Oz. Like when she gets in the Wizard of Oz, when she goes up to the fairy godmother and she's like, "You had the power within you all along," or whatever. She says something like that. That is so truthful because she never realized she had the power. So she's like out looking outside of herself the whole time to get people to help her somewhere. But when she really comes to the fairy godmother at the end and the fairy godmother helps her realize the power has been within you the whole time, that is such a truthful statement because we all have that power. And when we know that, we go from this learning empath and we graduate into what I like to call the empowered empath. And these are just words, these are just ways to express the divinity, but they're words that feel good to me. And you can feel free to use whatever words you like. But empowered empath comes into a place of actually realizing they have power. They start to embody their power. They start to move with greater awareness, greater power, and greater honor of seeing through eyes of clarity. They're not blind. They're not sleepwalking. They're not a zombie anymore. They've woken up. They're awake and they're looking out of eyes of consciousness and they are making choices like, do I want to have clients that come around me that don't even honor me? Not really. See you later. Ooh, do I like clients that show honor and reverence and that really are open and ready? That feels good. Let's do that. And so an empowered empath is going to be more selective of who he or she lets into their sacred space and let's take their, not take their energy, but basically who they wish to share their energy and their gifts with. Instead of feeling like the learning empath's like, I got to give it to everybody and you're exhausted. Then we go from empowered empath, which maybe you think you've already arrived, but there's always somewhere new to go and to evolve to. And in that place, what I'm feeling is coming, what is birthing in my awareness is this place of ascended mastery, where we become the ascended master. We become masterful. It's not because it's not a master in an egoic way, like I am the master and you're all my slaves. It's not that. It is that I have mastered my own divinity. I have mastered the game. I see the game for what it is, and I have mastered it. I know how to move and navigate through this game, and I know what feels good to me, and I know how to create what I want and how to clear what I don't want because I'm the master. And that is what I feel that we're all here to embody, is coming into the ascended mastery, which is in essence the human form rising and ascending, the higher self descending into human form, and the two integrating into harmony. And then we become the walking, awakened dream walker, the master, the ascended master. Does that make sense to everybody? If you guys want to ask me questions or if you have comments, let me know. But that's where I'm at with that. Any questions, Amnon?
Nope.
Okay.
I guess they all understand it.
Wouldn't that be awesome if that were true? That everyone just understands. But if you do, that's awesome. And if you don't, please ask questions. Let's see, where did I leave off at? Okay, so the whispers of fear and pain are at the seed of their creation within you. So looking into our past, I am royalty just as you, united in the quest to cut through the veil of illusion that distracts humanity into complexity, dimming the light within. And that is beautiful. I am royalty just as you. We are royalty. We are the gods and goddesses. We are divinity. We are the earth angels. We are here to live in our royalty. We're here to live with abundance and prosperity and to thrive and to help each other and love each other, heal each other. It's to be this place of oneness and beauty. This is the new earth I'm creating. And I hope, and in my heart, I hope that each of you are ready to co create that as well and birth that into reality. But that is the truth. We are royalty, united in the quest to cut through the veil of illusion that distracts humanity, the veil of illusion that distracts humanity. I love that. Into complexity, dimming the light within. And this is any egoic behavior that dims the light within, that causes any soul to feel that they are not divinity, they're not divine. Anybody who's projected that upon you in your journey that's caused you to feel you're small, you're insignificant, you're incompetent, you're not capable, you're not courageous enough, you're not smart enough. Anyone who has done that, in essence, has played in that game of basically distracting you into complexity and helping to dim your light. The question is, will you continue to allow that, or will you infuse your desire for truth? Because that is what I'm here to do, and that's what I hope to ignite in every one of you listening, is a desire to ignite truth. Instead of keep being caught up in the game of life that's all about distraction and complexity, it's all about jumping on the hamster wheel and spinning and spinning and spinning into exhaustion, thinking that your worth lies in what you're doing or what you're being, like your job, your titles, your roles, your physical possessions, all these things are what make you who you are. It's all BS. It's all illusion. What makes you divine is your divinity. You are divinity. You don't have to do anything. You already are it. And so imagine if we really could break free of the shackles and really wake up to that truth that I am divinity. I am a freaking god. I am a goddess. Why would I ever tolerate things that caused enslavement? Why would I ever participate in that? Why would I ever co-create that? Why would I ever, allow it or even project it? Why? It's a distraction. And so that's a good question for us to tune into. Together, let us share in mankind's evolution. Boom, evolution time. Mankind, humankind, this is what we're here to do. To embody the gold to embody the
Huh.
gold of the great central sun as a permanent symbol of our wisdom. Did you say something, Amnon?
Yeah, you have a caller. Tiffany is
I
online.
do. Awesome.
Hey,
Who is it?
Tiffany.
it's Tiffany.
Tiffany. How are you?
Good.
Good. So Tiffany, what do you have a question or did you have a comment that you wanted to share?
I have a question.
Okay.
The question is, about the wizard. I've been watching The Wizard of Oz on TV, and it's like, I really like The Wizard of Oz.
Okay, go ahead. You keep going. Go on.
Okay. Well, I didn't know exactly what her question was, but I'm really glad that she likes The Wizard of Oz. And I think The Wizard of Oz is actually an amazing expression of our own empowerment and helping us to actually really see that we have that power and we don't need to have some external wizard. If you think about the movie, that whole movie, that wizard was hiding behind a curtain, pretending to be powerful and pretending to be more powerful than others, and that the wizard could actually save anybody. And it was an illusion. And what was true was she discovered that she had that power within. So I think what Tiffany is expressing is that she loves that, and she loves that expression is igniting some kind of excitement in her. So I am grateful for that, and thank you for calling, Tiffany. Okay, so let's see, where did I leave off on here? Okay, so the permanent symbol of our wisdom, greatness, and infinite peace. Pray with me in the temple of self. Together we will hold the purple flame with a golden heart, and all will be revealed. I am with you in truth and illusion, anchoring the shining gold of love through the mind's eye. And I love that. I am with you. The I am is source, it's God, whatever you want to call it, that which cannot be named. I am with you in truth as well as illusion. So when we are in our moments of truth, source is there. When we are denying truth, source is there. But it's all about, what do we choose? If we want to live enslaved, we're going to keep denying truth. We're going to stay caught up in the illusion. We're going to keep hanging out with people that are fake and, um, manipulate us and materialistic, and we're going to just stay playing in those games because we're distracting ourselves. But if we really want to enter that divinity, we're going to stop playing in those games and we're going to start being more truthful. And I am source is here no matter what you choose. If you choose to play in the old egoic way, or if you choose to live in a more aligned way, source is always there. But that choice of what we choose to show up with, our awareness, is how we, as the Dorothys, get ourselves free. It's how we get back home instead of feeling like we're lost. So, I am with you in truth and illusion, anchoring the shining gold of love through the mind's eye. Soon we will raise the great goddess from her sleep into the embrace of Ra. And I love that line because just today on my Facebook post, I said something about Tawnya Love is wide awake. And I knew yesterday I was sitting at the table saying, I am a goddess. I am a creatress. You are gods and goddesses and creatresses. This is our divinity. Like, this is what we do. We don't have to, do anything to earn it. We are that. And so then I'm reading this and I'm like, that's awesome. Raise the great goddess from her sleep into the embrace of Ra. And once again, the white temple will rise for all to behold. And so if we really think of that statement within us, whether you're male or female listening, the goddess to me represents the feminine energy. And we are here to embody our aligned divine masculine, our aligned divine feminine energy in harmony within ourselves. And as we allow the goddess to rise from her slumber, this is symbolic of our planet that has been sleeping for a long time in regards to the divinity and to the honor of the feminine, to humanity's, ignorance to the fact that being still and meditative and receptive is just as important and powerful as taking action, to the ignorance and insanity that we have to always be fearfully, frantically doing without honor and reverence for our being. And this is where, like, if I'm not feeling my best, I'm not going to lead a workshop because I have learned my lessons. I do not have to do that. And if others cannot understand that and they can't show honor and reverence for my mirroring to them, then that shows there's some level of resistance in them to honor that in themselves. So that's okay, but I'm going to still mirror that. And so if each of us can see that we are here to embody that divinity, and if we allow the goddess to arise from her slumber, it's going to return us back to this beautiful, how did it say it? The white temple will rise for all to behold. Once more we are, with 13 moons upon our crown, the unity of the law of one. And it's all about oneness. We return to our state of oneness. We return to our alignment with Source. It's like Christ was teaching of being the great I am and understanding I am the living light. And there's nothing that needs to be done. It's this awareness, this knowingness that you are divinity. And then it becomes a fun game because we're here on this planet in a physical dimension to create. And then the question isn't just like, oh, what do I have to do? That whole like enslaving way of what do I have to do to be enough? How much money do I need to get? How many, nice cars do I have to get so the girls like me? And all this crap that we do from ego. And it shifts us into a higher vibrational place of what do I choose to create? And so like when we were doing our vision board class, I've taught many, and a lot of the girls admitted they've been to many that were all focused on materialism and manifesting material goals. Now, material goals are fine. There's nothing wrong with wanting a nice house or wanting to, own a boat or whatever you want to have. But what I helped them to process yesterday was if we are entering in a state of creation from a place of, if I have this, I'll be happy, I'll be satisfied. If I have that many people like me, then I'll feel enough. It's coming from ego. And it will never be enough because it'll always be that emptiness inside saying, I'm not enough. So it needs more and more. And it consumes and it will destroy. Look at our planet. Look what we do when we're in ego energy. We consume and we destroy ourselves, our bodies, our environments. And so when we shift into a place of really being aligned with that divinity, the question is no longer, what do I need to do? What should I do? It is, what do I choose to give the earth? What do I choose to create? What do I choose from my heart to birth into reality? That is a higher heart's calling. And every one of you listening has that inside of you. Every one of you has it. Some of you might be working in jobs and businesses and you're doing what you think you should do, what you've got to do, what do I need to do? You're in that energy. You're probably not very happy. You're probably not very fulfilled, probably exhausted. You're probably racing to work, cutting people off, flipping people the bird, ignoring your children when they talk to you, cutting your wife off. And you're miserable because you're racing to get somewhere and it will never satisfy you, no matter how far away you race. But if you slowed down and if we come into this place of presence and we remembered our divinity and we started to really live with authenticity and truthfulness, we would no longer be asking, what do I need to do? It would be, what do I choose to give? What do I choose to birth into creation? And that is a very different way of living. And that is going to make all the difference on this planet. So I'm going to pause and see if there are anybody, if you guys have any comments, write them in. I would love to hear from you. Come on, bring it. What do you guys say?
Yeah, come on, guys. Tawnya needs some oil on the fire.
Yeah, I need to take a sip. I'm like, my throat's dry. Seriously, what does anybody feel about that? An amen? I don't know if I agree with that, Tawnya. Bring it. What do you got? I can always count on Amnon for the hallelujah. So, anybody? Nobody talking?
Tiffany says it's good.
Tiffany said it's good?
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you for calling in as well, Tiffany. And I'm glad you love Wizard of Oz. And I think it's a great film for that, that symbol and understanding. But basically, we're almost at the end of the show. Is there anybody else?
Yeah, Michael says it's good too. And I know the guys on the chat on the Tawnya Live show on Nissan Communications say, what is he talking about? We don't see those people. Those people are on Blab. So we bring them in from Blab also. So that's why there's like 2 chats.
Oh, okay.
But it's okay.
Okay, because I'm like, what's happening?
Yeah, the one on the website is the main one, so it's okay.
Okay. So does anybody on Blab have anything to say?
I'm reading you. Everything so far was all said. Okay, now Pegasus is saying, are you aware of any religions that highlight one's divinity or is inner spirituality? The most effective means of cultivating that. He's asking.
Okay, I didn't catch the question. What was it?
The most effective means of cultivating that. It doesn't sound like a question, but there's a question mark at the end.
Okay. I didn't catch the religious part.
Oh, but are you aware of any religions that highlight one's divinity or I guess it's or is inner spirituality? I guess it's inner spirituality. Not sure, but
okay. Well, I'm not exactly sure what that question means, but I would say
read it. You can read it for yourself.
Yeah, well, I'm listening to you, but I'm just not exactly sure what it's meaning. But I would say, like, I am aware there are religions that do, guide people to believe that there's a lot of different approaches with religions. There's like Buddhism, which tells us that, we are to go in and have reflection and to come back and be true to self. And it's about compassion and all this inner awareness. And then there's also religions that teach that we are to just be good stewards and be people pleasers, basically. And then at some point we'll die and we'll maybe earn our way into heaven. And so I feel like there's different expressions in religion that actually are very contradictory towards living in one's divinity. And that may be what this person's kind of prodding. I'm not exactly sure. But when we feel like, if we've been taught by a lot of people, the silent whispers have taught us that if we are people pleasers and we do good deeds, then we'll earn our way into heaven. Or it could even be insane religions that are saying if we go drop bombs on certain people that aren't in our club, we'll go to heaven, because there's that religious energy too. And then there's the ones that are, about living with compassion and awareness. Like Buddhism is the one I would most say I relate to, but even some aspects of that have projections and belief systems that are not in alignment. But I feel in essence, I'm not religious. I am not religious. I won't even claim a religion. And I'm not against people who are. Everyone's got their path to find their awareness back to the oneness. And I feel like my path of awareness back to the oneness is love. And so when I enter that, if I want to embody a state of love, I have to give that to myself as well. So if I am embodying self love and I have honor for self, and then I reflect that and I express and share that outwardly with others, that's really coming back to that oneness. And for me, this whole show today was about being a truth teller and living in our highest truth, having the courage to be in our truth, to have fearlessness, to speak our truth, is really self love. And if we can't do that, it will start to create dis-ease in our bodies and in our relationships and in our environments, in our culture, collective consciousness. And it creates this insanity, or the complexity, as the reading I shared, the complexity that's actually an illusion that starts to dim one's own light. And in truth, we are all light. We are all love. We are all gods and goddesses.
Okay.
And it doesn't mean that we need to like bow down and worship each other or anything religious. It means that in essence, you are, as Christ said, I am the living light. I am the great I am. You are one with your source. So whatever you state, I am, be mindful of it, because you are going to start embodying that. So I am terrible at math. I am a shitty, musician. I'm a terrible husband. An amazing healer. I am a beautiful gardener. I am a masterful cook and chef. Whatever it is you say, you're the creator. So if your creations are not really fun, then start to pay attention to your I am statements. Oh, I'm broke. I'm useless. I'm nothing. Okay, because you're going to start to experience that. So if you want to experience a more beautiful, blissful reality, part of this whole dialogue today was to help us to come back to a state of oneness with our source, our heart's truth, and love self, and start to express our I am statements of not, what do I have to do? Because there is nothing you need to do. Remember that? There's nothing we need to do. But what if we come back to this place of the heart of, what do I choose to birth into reality? What do I choose to give of myself to this world? And what is my heart's deepest truth? What means the most to me? What matters to me? What if that was our highest resolution this year, and every day of the year, every day for infinity, if we lived in such a state of love and oneness and self-love and honor, that we expressed our truth, that we did not deny ourselves. Every time, like, we worry so much about betraying others and denying them, and we betray ourselves daily. Think about that. Think about how many times you do not say what you really want to say, how many times you betray and deny yourself, how many times you withhold the need that you have in yourself to please another. And this is what we need to start shifting. I feel this is an amazing opportunity being given to us so that we can evolve humanity forward. It's not something we have to do. It's something that will be joyful and that will help us evolve humanity out of this complexity and this chaos into a state of harmony and bliss. And so if you love chaos and complexity, by all means, stay in your egoic mind, but please stay away from me, because I don't need it. And if you are a being that has enough awareness and love and reverence, and you want to be in this beautiful state, come on in and let's play together. Yes, Amnon, jingle bells.
Pegasus explained, so I just want you to hear it. So it's all,
Okay.
the question is the whole thing. Are you aware of any religions that highlight one's divinity, or is inner spirituality the most effective means of cultivating that?
Oh, gotcha. Now I understand.
He said he hit return by mistake, so
It's okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I was a little lost on that. So inner exploration, inner stillness, I feel, is the swiftest path to any revelation. Or like the card we drew today with lapis lazuli. Remember, we can invite this beautiful crystal's energy into our energy field to assist us as medicine in our energy field, was all about realization. And so going inward in stillness, every master that we've ever talked about on the planet, ascended masters, meaning they've reached the state of mastery, what they all have in common, they all retreat from the world often and go inward. The Buddha, Christ, you name it, the different beings like, Mary, they don't talk about her in an aligned way, but Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary, Mother Teresa, we've had Gandhi, we've had, there's so many, but all these humans that have come and they've learned to reach a state of mastery, and then they express to the world and they become teachers and leaders because the world calls them to be. The world and they call each other to themselves to align with their divine message of truth. And in that truth, they all have that common thing in common. The thing they have in common is what I'm trying to say, is that they all go inward, and that inner stillness is where they find truth and where they remember their oneness, where they remember their divinity. So this is why my beloved and I, our intention will be to help as many as we can, and as we joyfully choose to, that also see and honor our divinity and see and honor what we're here to do. The workshops I will lead this year, they're going to be different. I can feel it because I'm not tolerating shit anymore. I'm not going to just feel like I have to give it all away, because I don't. And there's a shift happening inside Tawnya Love. And I hope it's also reflective of a shift happening in many of you, which is that we're going to start honoring ourselves more. We're going to start believing in ourselves more and trusting and moving with patience, but having courage and conviction and knowing ourselves, being self-realized. And we are going to be powerful leaders when we do that. And we're going to ignite this in others because that's how it works. And really, I feel like it's going to be beautiful, but each of us are going to discover this by being still and going within. And that's why meditation to me it's like the most important thing. The most important thing in our physical experience is to honor that time for meditation, and not just meaning going and being quiet and chanting and going to yoga. Those are beautiful ways, and I encourage those ways. But it's really like the girls who mentor, and not just girls, men and women who mentor with me in my yoga teacher trainings, what they learn from working with me for 3 months in a mentorship is that Tawnya Love's medicine that she ignites in them is to learn and to embody the ability to move in a moving meditation in everything you do. So that whether you're on a yoga mat doing a yoga pose or teaching a class, or you're in your car driving, or you're standing in the line at the grocery store, you enter the now with presence, and it becomes this magical energy of flow that moves through you, and you move in a moving meditation. There is no more chaos. You move and you're at peace always. You embody a peace that surpasses all understanding. And that is what one will gain from meditation, but it's not necessarily like just materialistic gain. And so to many humans, the path of meditation will seem very boring and like, why should I go there? I got stuff to do. I need entertainment. Let's go distract ourselves again. And that's fine. You'll continue to do that as humans until you've realized that it really doesn't serve you and it is not helping you. And once you've exhausted yourselves, you'll all come to this place of surrender where you'll lay down and you'll listen. And that is truth. That's how it will work for every one of us. And I just am here to encourage you to choose that on your own, because as we choose that, it's going to be more beautiful and graceful than if it's kind of given to us because of our lack of listening. These can be more extreme lessons that we go through when we're ignoring spirit's call, when we're ignoring, and it's not spirit externally, we're ignoring higher self's calling, your own heart and soul, your own divinity calling to your attention, calling to get your attention is what's really happening. It's you. You have been waiting this whole time to meet you. And that's what I hope that you will all have the courage to go and open the door and look inside and get to know you, your true divinity. So on that note, we're 10 minutes over and I'm going to sign off. Is there any final comments?
Nope.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for writing in and for calling in, Tiffany. And I wish you all the best in living your truth and having courage, being courageous, fearless warriors of light, and really know your magnificence and your divinity is there, and you don't need to earn it. Start living like the kings and queens and the gods and goddesses you are. And that doesn't mean we look down on others. It means that we embody our power fully and we ignite that in everyone around us. That's true divinity. It's not about being a dictator looking down on others. It's about moving with each other in our oneness. So thank you all for tuning in. And remember, next week there will be a recorded show because I will be away with my beloved on a beach trip. And then we will be back live again the following week. So if you guys want to tune in next week, Amnon will put up a different video. And in the meantime, go to YouTube and you can follow me there on Tawnya Love and watch as many videos as your heart desires. So thank you so much, guys, and have a beautiful day. Namaste.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, My Life, My Will with Gisela DiCarlo, The Tawnya Love Show, Health In with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Triangle Be Well with Howard Jacobson, Lunch and Learn with Rabbi Yisrael Cutler, Lessons of Vietnam with NCVVI members, Parent Dome with Ryan Miller, Current Affairs with Amnon Nissan. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section on nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Atomos.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.